You ever think back at a certain game and just think to yourself, how did people not play this? How did this game go so under the radar? I think Puppeteer will find itself in that very position in 10 years. Sony's Japan Studio has crafted a beautiful, artistic, delightfully funny, joyous game. Puppeteer has you taking the role of Kotaro, a little puppet boy who has lost his head to the vicious Moon Bear King, whom captures children's souls, making them work as guards at his castle. As Kotaro, you venture into his castle to steal Calibris, a pair of magic scissors. These will be your primary weapon throughout the whole game. You'll be using these scissors to not only cut up enemies, but navigate the environment as well, all through the game's 7 acts until you finally regain your head. Easily the best part of Puppeteer is its presentation. No other video game is presented and played in such a fashion. Puppeteer is a show. There are curtain borders, and a narrator for this show. There are 7 acts in the game, with 3 scenes each. Each scene has a fair amount of narrative and dialogue, but everything about Puppeteer is just so finely woven, and it all comes together beautifully. The art style has everything to bring this show to life. The puppet boys and girls, the paper-crafted animals, the oversized objects, the lush colors, diverse environments. The musical score is fantastic. The whole game even has an audience that will applaud, gasp, or boo when necessary, even during gameplay, during actions that may not directly be important to the story. But Puppeteer's strengths don't just lie in its looks. It plays wonderfully too. What really keeps this side-scrolling platformer fresh is Calibris, your trusty pair of magic scissors. They create a really compelling gameplay mechanic of fighting and navigation. Cutting your way up pant seams, chopping across leaves, or tearing apart a boss's carpet are some of the few things you'll be using Calibris for. You'll also have a shield and bomb to make use of as well, so every scene will have a mix of these elements to keep things fresh. One major component to the gameplay is your head. Since it's missing, you have to use other heads. Heads are scattered all throughout the game, and you can only carry 3 at a time. If you take damage, your head will fall off and you have to retrieve it. Lose all 3 of your heads and you're done. The heads are not only a collectible, but also a necessity to activate bonus stages, or even give you an advantage in a boss fight. The game will present you with ways to find a new head and then use that for an upcoming moment, but then that challenges you to keep that head until that possible section, but sometimes you'll never know what head you need for that upcoming section. So you really have to pick your battles with which head you want to take into each level and which one you want to swap out once you find a new head. Now, head games aside, no pun intended, there's also your partner. You control this character at any time with the right analog stick, and you can navigate them anywhere on screen. You can press R2 at any time to search the environment for more collectibles. This is a very crucial mechanic, as you'll be needing to do this throughout the whole game to possibly find more heads or bonus stages. It is great that there's so much to do and find, but it is easy to overlook using your partner's search mechanic. It's basically controlling 2 characters, and sometimes that just escapes you. And that will easily ruin the multiple heads element of this game, since you wouldn't be finding much newer ones to use. However, if you want, you can have a second player join in to control this character, with PlayStation Move support to boot. I can't say this is the most ideal way to play Puppeteer, but the option is there. It's also worth noting that this multiplayer option is local only.
Tell you something that might change your mind. Ready for this? My daddy is the sun. I know, it's like tragic. I'm a princess.
There's honestly not much to dislike about Puppeteer. I can definitely see this being a game not for everyone. Perhaps a game like Puppeteer just isn't your cup of tea, and I totally get that. But for others with your interest piqued, you will love what you find here. Aside from a somewhat demanding upkeep of the partner controls, the long story sequences and narration can be a tad too long. There's definitely a few moments where you can go without having the drawn-out discussion, but all story scenes are easily skippable, which I still wouldn't even fully recommend because the game really shines in those aspects, but they just go on a little bit too long.
Did you forget you sent us off in the first place? Yes, Calibris chose him.
Every so often you stumble on a title that is truly unique. The PlayStation 3 has been fortunate enough to see these games out of Sony's funded programs and developers, and this one is no different. I encourage anyone who's interested to be a part of this show. Just don't run with scissors, or you'll lose your head.